Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again for coming before us. In the last week, during the break, I returned to West Virginia and was on overload of negative information coming at us in West Virginia. The first newspaper I got when I got back there was Dark Day for Miners. They had just announced that 2,268 coal mining jobs were lost. 2,268 families now are looking for jobs as a result of this mining. Then I got soon thereafter, we got another power plant closed down, the Camera power plant. Even though FERC has said that, and they've testified before us, that the concern they have is that we're going to have rolling blackouts in the Midwest if we don't start replacing these power plants, but we're continuing to shut these power plants down. And then there was another one that went on to say just in one community, one small community, that they're going to lose $61 million in wages as a result of this. So I'm dealing with all of this crisis where when you add the additional losses, these 2,268, now we're up to, and I believe the chairman mentioned it earlier today, that we have now lost in West Virginia 45% of our coal miners are unemployed since 2012. Just in 3 years. 3 years, we've lost 45% of our coal miners are looking for work. Now, I went on last Friday, I met with the Coal Association, and I could see there, they said there's going to be further contraction as a result of what's policies and that are happening nationally. So they're very concerned about what's going on with it. This loss of the Camera and other power plants, it challenges, you well know, the grid stability that we have, this dependability. But it's not, it goes beyond that, you know that, and that is, what about the property taxes? What about the local income tax that people are going to pay? You can take away the power plant, but now you're affecting the schools. You're affecting how our community operates with this happening. So my first question of two questions would be, what would you suggest that would, to the coal industry, to reverse this decline?
Well, Mr. McKinley, first of all, of course, we all feel, for whatever reason, when there are these major disruptions in communities, it's obviously something that we need to pay attention to, and administration does have some programs to look at some retraining, particularly in the overlap areas with natural gas production, the Power Plus plan that's been put forward. But I recognize that these don't address 45% of a workforce, so they help in the right direction, but they certainly do not, quote unquote, solve the problem.
But keep in mind, too, Mr. Secretary, you know something, the coal miners, the average age is going to be in their 50s. What are we going to retrain them? So my second question, since I didn't, unfortunately, you don't have a quick answer either on this, as to how to stop the hemorrhaging. But the second question, so if you're sitting in the kitchen with this 55-year-old that just lost his job, he's been working 30 years in a coal mine, what do you tell him?
Well, look, again, I'm completely with you. This is very, very difficult. It's very difficult. I think in the end, it's about having to try to produce some other economic opportunities, revitalization, some retraining,
but these are real. You understand? These are real people that have really lost their job.
And the following is not on the right time scale for you, but I've said previously, I think in front of this committee as well, that we do have many programs, many different kinds of programs that are addressing the issue of a future of coal, even in a low-carbon world, but that's not going to solve that gentleman's problem tomorrow. I completely agree with that.
So in the 23, what are we telling him?
I think the key...
He's got to make his, he's got a mortgage payment. He's got a health care bill. He's got what are we doing for him?
The key has to be economic development and providing other opportunities. And I might just mention, Mr. McKinley, that I'm happy to say that here that also, because recently Senator Manchin has asked me to come to West Virginia, and I'd be happy to join him and you and come to West Virginia and try to understand the situation and what we can do.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah.
This time,